Petrushka, the puppet ballet you are about to see, was produced as part of the 2002 Irving S. Gilmore International Keyboard Festival. The biennial Gilmore Festival presents piano and other keyboard music events throughout southwestern Michigan.
Petrushka. The ballerina. The Moor. Watch these puppets come to life in Petrushka, a puppet ballet, coming up next. Petrushka was originally a ballet composed by the great Igor Stravinsky and was inspired by puppet plays of 19th century Russia. In this ballet, the dancers pretended to be puppets. Puppeteer Basil Twist has reversed the roles to create the puppet show Petrushka.
This puppet show of Petrushka is based on the original ballet by the Ballet Russe. So the characters in the story are the original characters in the story from that piece. And it's a love triangle between three puppets. One is Petrushka, who is the kind of the national folk puppet of Russia, like Punch and Judy is of England. Petrushka is Russian, and then there's a ballerina, and there's the Moor. Petrushka, as presented in this ballet, is slightly different from the folk puppet character. He's sad over his being kind of enslaved as a puppet, and he's in love with the ballerina, but he also has a real temper. The ballerina is, well, she's a flirt. The ballerina is sort of at the apex of the love triangle, so the Moor and Petrushka are both in love with her. The character of the Moor used to appear actually in the original Petrushka puppet shows, so it is part of the Russian tradition, but it's a sort of a backward understanding of the world, of looking at the foreigners and something different and other. I had to respect the origins of the show and keep this character in, but I try and treat him differently. I try and make him a little more intelligent, a little cooler. I try and justify the fight that breaks out between him and Petrushka. He's more of a brute in the original production, and I'm sensitive to how people perceive that nowadays. The original ballet, the characters are, the idea is that the characters are puppets at a carnival. So the dancers portrayed the puppets. Notably, the famous dancer Nijinsky created the role of Petrushka. And the original choreography for the piece was they moved very stiff and robotic, like they were dolls or mechanical dolls. That's a person trying to look like a puppet. I'm obviously using puppets. I don't have to make them seem like puppets. They are puppets. And so my idea instead was to try to make them as human or even as superhuman as possible. So for example, a ballerina puppet shouldn't be stiff and awkward. She actually, I think, should be able to do things that a human ballerina only wishes she could do. She can fly and she can glide around on one toe.
Bringing the characters to life is quite a feat that involves a tremendous amount of practice and dedication from the puppeteers.
This is how we work the puppets. You can actually see this from the audience. The three puppeteers work really closely together to work this one puppet. This is the Moor character, and you can see how close their bodies are together. During the performance, they have black hoods on, and only the puppet is lit. So they basically disappear, and the puppet is all that you see on stage. One person works just the feet, one person works both arms, and then one person works the head and the pelvis. So the person who works the head and the pelvis basically has the spinal column and creates the shape of the whole torso. They basically fit together to create a six-armed being that can work this puppet. And it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of practice. And that's just for one person to work on one puppet. Then when you have more than one puppet, if you have two puppets, you have 6 people together. And if you have 3 puppets, you have 9 people together. And when the puppets have to cross in front of each other, it means that the puppeteers have to dive over each other or climb under each other. That's really complicated. The other aspects of the show, there's the larger aspects and the more abstract parts, which the puppeteers also realize on stage. And they have to climb up a scaffolding, they have to run around in the dark, they have to push these platforms and rearrange them. There's lots of props backstage that they have to find and strike. There's things on ropes and pulleys. It's very, very, very tightly packed, everything backstage. And just like as the puppeteers are tightly packed, everything has to be planned perfectly, really within inches, so that things don't run into each other. Set pieces as well as puppeteers.
And of course little things are going to go wrong. Something might get stuck, or someone might realize they have to take...
I have an amazing team working with me, and the puppeteers have worked really hard for a long time to perfect this show. Besides the joy of just working the puppets, there's lots of logistics and details, and it actually constantly astounds me how devoted they all are to the project and to perfecting their characters' moves and all the elements of the show. And I've kind of cast it almost like you would cast actors. Even though you can't see the puppeteers, there's a certain quality that a female puppeteer will bring to a puppet that a male puppeteer might not. And so I always keep the same puppeteers on the same puppets, even though you don't see them. I think it creates a stronger character. It creates, it's really an acting job. And if that was being passed off from one puppeteer to another, I think it would lose some of its force. So I really try and keep those teams together, and I've cast them kind of for type. The ballerina, there's 3 female puppeteers who work the ballerina, and they all have a good understanding of ballet technique. The 3 puppeteers who work the more or slightly more masculine, macho guys.
I'm Erin, and I'm a puppeteer on Petrushka. And this is the ballerina puppet. I operate the arms of the ballerina puppet. For me, it's more fun to make the puppet dance. She's a much better dancer than I was ever. She's capable of doing all sorts of things very effortlessly that are incredibly difficult and painful and taxing to do with your own body, and it's sort of, it's lovely to say, can her leg go higher? Yes, it can go higher. Can she jump higher? Yes. Can she spin that many times? Yes. I mean, there's a different kind of effort involved in coordinating 3 people, and there are physical limitations with the puppets, but it's also very dreamy to have somebody else's body do any kind of choreography that you can dream up.
This is the accordion from the beginning of the show. There's a big giant band played by disembodied hands. And it's a whole series of these instruments, and they're all run by different sorts of toggles. And so you can see in the back, just simply by putting this, it's very heavy, so by putting it under my arms to hold it up, and then just simply by moving the toggles and then opening and closing the accordion, like so, I'm able to make this instrument play. But then of course it has choreography, it has to do with all the other instruments, and so we find ourselves going in giant circles with a giant pair of hands playing spoons and a giant pair of hands playing a balalaika and all sorts of other Russian instruments.
We wear black shoes. Some people have ballet slippers, jazz shoes. One person has a pair of water shoes. We have to wear black socks. And then these pants and tunics are made out of very, very dark velvet so that it really absorbs the light and we're not visible. And the pants are made so that we can move around and move our legs without getting caught up. And same thing with the tunic. We have elastic so that we can reach without the sleeves showing our skin. And what else? Well, the hood, which is built on a baseball cap. It's also made out of the velvet, but we have scrim right here, which we can see through a bit, and it's held down by this elastic. So we can see out of it, but hopefully the audience doesn't see much of us.
So here we have the big giant bear, which makes his appearance, and he's played by, I think, upwards of 9 different people. He starts off at the bottom and all we see are his claws which appear, which can swat. And in the light, what you mainly see are claws and teeth. And so as he rises up, we eventually see this big giant head appear. And someone is actually inside of this, making the jaws snap. And then it gets passed up the giant scaffolding, which you can probably see behind us. And someone else takes it and snaps it. And then it gets passed up again to the top level. Someone else takes it and pulls it back, and it goes up and up and up. And the bear itself seems like it's a gigantic 20-foot tall bear.
I'm definitely following the music. The music is kind of sacred because it's a classic Stravinsky piece, so I can't really play with the music very much. And just what I did, especially in those more abstract parts, was just to really listen to the music and to think, what kind of images did that music conjure up for me? Did I see the color red? Did I see these things forcing their way up vertically, or things horizontal? Just by listening to the music again and again and again, you start to get some sort of visual picture. People enjoy music on a different level than they do listening to a story or watching a TV show. There's a different enjoyment factor where you don't necessarily need to understand it, but you can just enjoy, and it can evoke feelings in you simply because it goes fast or slow or high or low. And I think that's kind of what I try to bring forth in my puppetry too, and especially with these more abstract passages, is just to kind of evoke different moods and feelings. And it doesn't necessarily have to make sense or tell a story.
The music plays a part in the puppet show visually as well, with the 2 9-foot grand pianos forming the bottom portion of the puppet show frame.
I didn't want the pianos to be in the pit or off stage. I wanted the source of the music to be part of the show. And it's really an ideal relationship because we have these 2 identical sisters who are fantastic pianists, and the 2 beautiful 9-foot pianos, and it makes a great frame for the image.
The pianists for the show are Irina and Julia Elkina, who were born in Russia. They have made their own 2-piano arrangement for the puppet show, since a definitive one did not exist for the entire Petrushka piece. In addition to the fact that they are superb musicians, Basil feels that their being twins and Russian are definite benefits.
Well, the fact that they're identical twins, I think, is something very special. It makes it that they have a really superb musical partnership and something almost mysterious. They have this connection that is quite astounding. Normally they play, Irina plays first piano and Julia plays second piano. So they normally always stick to the same parts. But there were moments in the show when for different theatrical reasons, I wanted the sound to be coming from the left, or I wanted the sound to be coming from the right, because say the ballerina comes in on the right, and I want those higher notes to be coming from Julia, who normally plays the lower notes. And when I would make a request like this, they could do it instantly. They could just switch parts instantly. They didn't even have to think about it. They knew each other so well, and they could just switch. It's incredible. Other moments too where there's long passages where maybe just one piano plays, and I had them break it up so that they kind of volley it back and forth instead of it always being on one side. And it's like there's one person playing though still. Even when we take a passage of music and it gets sort of thrown back and forth, and a piece that's normally played by one piano, they're able to play it seamlessly. And I think that's due to their connection as twins.
We think that there is a very happy coincidence in the fact that the ballet is, the original Petrushka ballet is a Russian ballet, and Stravinsky is a Russian composer, and we are Russian-born and Russian-trained pianists. We do think that we have something in the background which lets us and help us to understand the story better, to understand the tradition, those fair theme much better. We know what the bear is. We would never ask why the bear is in this ballet, because that's a part of Russian carnival.
And I think we've heard these tunes Stravinsky uses in the music from our childhood, so it's almost like very natural for us to play them.
In addition to making a wonderful visual frame, Basil talks about some of the other advantages of using live musicians.
The music is fixed as it is. The music is written. We have to respect Stravinsky, but there are definitely moments where there's a give and take with the puppeteering. There's of course we're following them, but there's definitely moments when I feel they're following us, or they accent certain things in ways in response to how we're performing or what they see on the stage.
It is different because we have to collaborate with a big group of people. We have to sometimes accommodate their requests, reasonable requests, I mean, like finishing on time so that Petrushka collapses exactly on the chord. We have to watch them sometimes. We have to adjust to certain distractions such as noises, lights, lack of light on the music and things like that, but it's certainly fun.
And I think when we sometimes have a chance to watch the performance, sometimes to do like that and see what's going on there, we feel like we are really playing together, and whatever they are doing there influences our interpretation. So it becomes much more visual for us in terms of really reading the music and seeing the music now.
Another critical element for the puppet show is the lighting.
The key, most complex element of the lighting is that we try to not light the puppeteers, but that we light the puppets as much as possible. To achieve this, he's got actually a really complex system where lights above the stage and on the side are constantly changing and shifting subtly depending on where each puppet is. So it's not that he has everything lit all the time. He just lights the spaces that need to be lit, and the lights are always shifting constantly. The benefits of working with puppets over human beings is that there's really no limits. There's no limits to what you can do with puppets. If you can conceive it, there is some way to do it. So in this show with the figurative puppets, we try and make them we try and make them look human. We try and make them walk like humans. There's a regular vocabulary of human moves, but we can go beyond that too. We can make the puppets fly, they can do flips, unending, they're weightless. There's amazing things that puppets can do that people can't do. And also with the more abstract elements, the other more abstract materials and objects that we use in the show can create, it's like they're dancers, but they are able to dance in a way that no human could possibly dance. The piece of fabric that floats through the air can illuminate the music in a way as a dancer would, but with a quality that no dancer possesses, because a dancer has, as extraordinary as dancers are, there's a limited range of what they can actually do with their body. And so it's exciting to work in puppetry. There's really no limits. If you can imagine it, there's some way that you can do it. Because the story is about puppets, it was an opportunity to really go to an extreme virtuosity and an extreme challenging puppetry technique. If I was going to do a story about just normal people, I might not have made it so complex. But because it was puppetry, I felt like, because it was about puppets, I felt like I had to really push the technique, really show kind of super uber puppets was the idea. And this piece, the story, offers that. My hope for the audience's experience of the show is that they lose themselves in the reverie of the show. You can never forget during a live performance that it's live and that there's people working back there. And of course, as a puppet show, there's even that added element of knowing that there's people moving around in the dark. But at some point, I hope that people completely lose themselves in the show and that they see these characters and they feel for them, that they feel for Petrushka, that they understand what it's like to be in love, that they relate. And I think that people would relate to a bunch of wood and cloth is the most extraordinary thing. And so that's what I hope that people get out of this show, that they find themselves relating to the characters and that they also see how amazing that is, that they're relating to something that is completely inanimate.
Bye.